Three prostrations to His Holiness Sakya Trizin.
Respected Venerable Sangha members and all the Dharma brothers and sisters. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to extend my very warm greetings and best wishes to all the participants who have gathered here today. And also I would like to take this opportunity to thank very much our Sakya Tempeling as well as the Pure Land Marketing we jointly organized this event. And also is very happy to be here in this Taipei Buddhist Center, which they've been very kindly rendered to us to use for this event. And then I've been asked to talk about freeing the heart and mind. Generally speaking, the world we live, where there are so many different kind of people, different ideas, different beliefs, different culture, and different traditions. But the one thing that is common to all is that everyone wishes to be free from suffering and wishes to accomplish the happiness. So for the sake of happiness, every individual, every society, every body is trying their best to achieve the happiness. And so for the sake of happiness, that we make progress. And during the last century, the tremendous progress has been made in the field of science and technology. And these progress, in many ways, are great benefit. For instance, like many of the diseases that we've not been able to cure long time ago, nowadays, very easily they can diagnose and also they can cure. And many of the places that we even never heard of, nowadays one can reach there very easily. And so in transportations, communications, etc., which brought us a lot of benefits. But then at the same time, these outer material progress could not solve the main suffering and also could not achieve the real peace and happiness that everyone is seeking. And moreover, these the scientific and the technology progress that we made, unless and until we make inner spiritual progress, and that it makes the world even more dangerous and more violent and more disturbing. So therefore, it is very important to make inner spiritual progress. So with the outer material progress combined with the inner spiritual progress, then one can really make it a better world, more harmonious and more happy and more peaceful. So irrespective what kind of race that one is, what kind of religion that one follows, what kind of ideologies that one believes, what kind of traditions that one follows, that it is very important to make a better mind, must develop what we call the basic human mental qualities, which I believe that all the major religions of the world also emphasize the importance of the love, compassion, tolerance, and forgiveness. With it is that we must make it better person, better human being, and more better developed basic human qualities. Only then one could achieve the real peace and happiness. But it is difficult. Of course, we all know that it's a great benefit, and it is very important. Yet it is very difficult for us to practice. It is easy to say, but it is difficult in practice. The reason why it is difficult is because we've been associated with our defilements or the negative emotions. Because that we've been so long time, according to the Buddhist tradition, that the mind has no beginning. It's a beginningless time. There's no such time as this particular person's mind begins from this date. There's no such time. It's one of the wonders, is when this mind is beginning. We have the physical body and the mind. And physical body, we knew from where it comes from, and how it is developed, and how it is maintained. We can see with our own eyes, we can touch with our hands, and we can measure its size. And also we can describe the shape and the colors. And also we knew that one day this physical body will be disposed in one way or another. But the mind is something very different. Mind is invisible. Mind we can't see with our naked eyes. Mind we can't touch with our hands. Mind we can't describe the size of the mind or the shape of the mind or the colors of the mind. Yet, of course, it is obvious there is a mind. Without mind, one does not function. Without mind, the body is just dead body, and it will not function. So with the mind, that it functions. So the mind is the most important thing. So this mind, although when we leave this world, the mind, the body will be disposed in one way or another, but the mind could not dispose because it is invisible. The invisible thing that you can't cremate or bury it or put it somewhere else. It will not disappear again. It's already invisible, so therefore it could not be disposed the way we dispose our body. So therefore, the mind, what is the continuous cause is the mind, the same kind of continuity. The mind is also changing all the time. When we are as a baby and when we are as children, when we are as a child, and the grown-up person's mind are very different, isn't it? Our mind is very different. Yet we could remember, because it is the same continuity of the mind. It's the unbroken, it's continued all the way, ever since we were born in this world, that it never stopped, it continued all the way. So this continuity of the mind will not stop. When we, it will not stop. It will continue. And so in this way, that present mind, our present mind, with this body, the mind that holds this body, before the continuity of the mind enters this body, there is a mind. So there, in this way, that one could approve that there is a life before we have taken the present life. So in this way, that you go backwards. You will go previous to that, and another previous to that, another previous to that. So there's no end. If you go back, there's no end. So it's therefore it is called the beginningless time. So from the beginningless time until now, the mind is associated with the defilements, or what we call the negative emotions, because due to the lack of wisdom and that we do not know the reality, so therefore we caught up with the defilements. So we've been associated with the defilements all the time. So therefore it is very easy to rise negative emotions like desire, anger, jealousy, pride, etc. Even just one word will trigger. One word can rise the jealousy. One word can rise the anger. We know that it is a fault, and it's a wrong thing. Because when the negative emotions arise, one will not feel good. I mean, for example, when anger rises, the person's face becomes dark, and it disturbs the whole system, the body system, and mental system. It disturbs your state of peace and happiness disturbed. So we do not want that, but we can't help. When somebody says something nasty, when somebody shows something, some kind of look or say something, anger can rise. We can't help because we are so used to with the associating with the negative emotions. So therefore, it is difficult to write. For example, like people who are smoking or drinking, they know that it's harmful. Smoking is harmful. It can cause very dangerous disease, and it is harmful to yourself. It is also harmful to other people. As similarly, the drinking also can damage us. But the people who are so used to it, even though they wish to quit, and even though they know that it is harmful, yet it is very difficult for them to quit. Likewise, that we've been associated with the defilements, so it's very difficult. It's difficult to rise the basic human qualities like love, compassion, the tolerance, and forgiveness. And it is so easy to rise the jealousy or the pride or the anger and the desire and so on. So the way we must make the efforts is the way of thinking. The way of spiritual practices that can change. So therefore, the very first step is that one must make it aware. The dangerous thing is not at the outside. The most dangerous thing is within our own mind, our own negative emotions. That can cause all the suffering, all the problems and all the harmful things are created by our own negative emotions. So therefore, we must, first of all, many people even do not notice or do not realize that the negative emotions are harmful. And the negative emotions causes all the misery and the sufferings. So first of all, the first step is that we must be aware that our biggest enemy is not outside, that our biggest enemy is within our own mind, our own negative emotions. No outside enemy can cause so much suffering as our defilements can cause. And then the second step is to suppress, to make it inactive, not to be too active and involved. And so in this way, that one should try. And then finally, through the meditations and through the spiritual practices, that one must eliminate these negative emotions. And once the negative emotions are eliminated, then one's basic or the true nature of the one's mind will reveal, and then one what we call the liberation and eventually the enlightenment is also possible in this way. Because according to the Buddha's teachings, every sentient being, not only the human being, every living being possesses the Buddha nature. In a sense, that the true nature of our mind and the true nature of the Buddha's transcendental wisdom, there's no difference. It's all same. There's no difference at all. So in the true nature, the sentient beings and the Buddha, there's no difference. This is what we also call the natural purity. Natural purity means everybody's true nature of the mind is pure, and it is never stained with the obscurations. Yet, the sentient beings and the Buddha, there's a vast difference. Sentient being means the ordinary beings who are helpless. We do not have the freedom. We do not have the ability. We do not have the power. Wherever, according to the Buddhist tradition, we believe in karma or the cause and effect, and the defilements. Wherever the winds of karma blows, one have to be there. One have no choice. We can't say we want to live after this year. We can't say we have to be healthy. We wanted to be healthy. We wanted to live long. We wanted to be happy, but we can't. We have no choice, because wherever the winds of karma, you get sick, you get unhappy, you also die against our wishes. So therefore we have no freedom. We are helpless. Whereas the Buddhas are totally free from all forms of obscurations, and so therefore they are totally free from all forms of obscurations, and that can fully develop all the possible qualities. So therefore the difference between sentient being and the Buddha is like earth and the sky. But in its own natural state, in its own nature state, there is no difference. And so therefore, we believe that every sentient being has the opportunity to become a fully enlightened Buddhas. And that why at the moment that we could not be free, we could not be, is because that we, due to the lack of wisdom, that instead of seeing the true nature of the mind, that we all have the tendency of clinging as a self. We all have the natural tendency that we think about self. It is a habitual tendency that builds up from life after life. So many lives that builds up, and so therefore it goes on. And so we all have the natural tendency that we think is as I. So this I, if we carefully examine, you can't find the I anywhere. Because if there is the I or the self, it has to be either a name or the body or the mind. And the name is empty by itself. Any name could be given to anybody at any time. Name could be changed any time. So the name is not the self. Name is not kind of permanent. It can change. And the body, if we try to examine it from the head to toe, each and every part, like hair, skin, blood, bones, skin, veins, etc. You can't find anywhere that is called the self. There's no such as self or I. And then there's the mind. Mind is changing all the time. Even yesterday's mind and today's mind is different. Yesterday you think in different way. It could be today you think in another way. Totally different than what you were thinking yesterday. Because every moment the mind is changing. But it is the same continuity, so that we still could remember. Otherwise it keeps changing all the time. So the something that is all the time changing could not be the self. Because if the mind is self, then yesterday's mind is self, or today's mind is self. And it keeps changing all the time. So therefore, there's no actually thing called self. Even in our ordinary sense, and in a worldly way, we talk about like my, I, and my. So when we say my, like my possessions, like my house, my car, and my relatives. So when you say my house, the house is not I. The house belongs to you, but the house is not I. Similarly, like your relatives or your possessions. And similarly, we talk about like my body. So there's, when you say my body, the body belongs to you. The body is not I. The body belongs to you. Similarly, also we talk about like my mind. At the moment my mind is happy, at the moment my mind is not happy, and so on. But so the mind belongs to you, but the mind itself is not, it's obvious that mind itself is not you. So then, where is this the self or the I who owns everything, who owns your possessions, who owns your body, who owns your mind? You can't find anywhere. This great owner who owns everything, you can't find anywhere. So there's no proof, there's no logical proof to say that there is a self. And yet, of course, there's a self. There's a self who do things, who gets rewards, and who do meritorious deeds, and who also do the sinful things, who also do the harmful things, and so on. So therefore, but in reality, there's no such a self. So the biggest mistake, what we call the basic ignorance, or the basic ignorance, yes, the main ignorance, due to the lack of wisdom, not seeing the true nature of the mind, the reality. So instead of seeing the true nature of the mind, that we cling as a self without any logical reasons, that we all together, like body and mind and all the aggregates together, focusing on this, then that we think as a self. Of course, we all have the tendency of thinking as a self, and we think self is the number one. No matter how much you love the other beings, but number one is we always think of self, and the number one is self. So this is the biggest ignorance, or the biggest mistake. Because when you have the self, then comparatively, depending this, that there is the others. It's just like the right and left. If there's a right side, you got to have a left side. You can't have the right side alone, because they are depending on each other. There's the right side, so due to this, there's a left side. You can't have the right side alone. Similarly, so when you have the self, then there is the others. So when you have the self and the others, then naturally there's desire for the self and anger for the others. So in this way, it forms the basic, what we call the three root defilements. Three root defilements are the ignorance, the desire, and anger. And when you have these three root defilements, Then you have the others like jealousy, pride, and stinginess, etc. And so in this way, it forms the defilements, and then we associate it with the defilements all the time. And when you associate it with the defilements rise, and when the defilement arises, then it takes actions, like the physical actions, and the verbal actions, and the mental actions. And so when you take these actions, then it is just like planting a seed on the fertile ground, that in due course that it will ripening the results. And so in this way the life goes on and goes on, and never freeing from the suffering of samsara. As long as we are in this what we call samsara, or the circle of existence, it is just like we describe it as like a wheel of life. The life goes on. I mean, at the moment we began this life, at the moment in this state, in this particular body, and then it goes on. So this circle is going round, and one day this will end. We leave this world, then another life begins, and goes on. So it's never ending. It goes on round and round again and again. So it never stops. So therefore, it is called the wheel of life. And so now the thing to do this is that because we must know this, and we must free from the defilements. As long as we are associated with the defilements, one could never free from the suffering of samsara. And so the way to freeing the mind is actually we have to change our own mental attitude. Because according to the Buddhism, according to the Buddha's teachings, that everything is created our own karmas, our own actions. Because the Buddhism do not believe that there's an outside creator who created everything, all our happiness and all our sufferings. Everything is actually created by our own deeds, through our own karma or the deeds. So the help that Buddha gave is that Buddha gave the teachings and to show us what is the correct way, what is the best way, what is the right way, and what is the wrong way. Whereas some the traditions that who believe in the Creator, who created everything, who created the whole world, who created our happiness and the sufferings, then it's different. We have to pray to this Creator, because our happiness and suffering is created by the Creator, so we have to pray to this. But in Buddhism, it's not praying for outside. We have to pray for ourselves, because Buddha has shown us the path, but the happiness and the suffering is not created by outside force, but the suffering and the happiness is created by our own deeds. So the people who believed in Creator, I have many friends in India who believe in Creator. So when they face sufferings, when they face disasters, then they fight with their deities or their gods, saying that why you give me such suffering, why you give me such punishment. But whereas in Buddhism there's no such thing, because if you fight with the deities, the deity will answer that although I try to help you the best, but due to your own negative deeds, that you have to face such a situation, then there's no answer. You can't fight with the deities, because it is your own. We believe in our own karmas, our own deeds. So the way to help is help ourselves to be better human beings. Through that, developing our own basic human qualities, we'll be able to achieve what we are seeking, what we are looking for. Happiness could not, by praying to the deities or by praying to the Buddha, one will not get happiness as a gift. But we have to make our own efforts to make ourselves happy. We have to develop our own qualities, such as the love. Love is very important. According to the Buddhist teachings, the love means a sincere wish to be happy and to be with the cause of happiness. Just as like every mother wishes their child to be physically healthy, mentally happy, and also with the cause of happiness, so that one will enjoy one will enjoy the continual happiness. And so just as like ourselves longing for the happiness, every sentient being, tiny insects, up to the gods, or up to the human beings and up to the gods, everyone is looking for the same thing. So it is not right just to think of one's own happiness alone. We have to think of all the other sentient beings also has the same feeling. The great Indian master Shanti Deva has said that all the happiness that exists in this world arises wishing for other beings to be happy. Even in a worldly wise, the people who are selfless and people who are caring for the others, people who are helping others, everybody loves them. Everybody respects, such as like India's Mahatma Gandhi, the Mahatma Gandhi who whole his life he worked selflessly without caring his own positions or the names, but caring for the masses, caring for the others. So even today, all over the world, the Mahatma Gandhi is respected. Everyone respects his ideas and his way of doing. So in this way, so therefore, we have to think. But whereas Shanti Deva said that all the sufferings that exists in this universe rises from wanting for oneself, caring for oneself, wanting for oneself to be happy. People who are selfish, who only cares for one's own well-being, one's own benefit, one's own happiness, nobody loves them. Nobody likes. And so therefore, you see the difference. So we have to see what is the way to happiness. What is the way to freeing our mind? Is that it's not from the outside. Of course, the prayers are also powerful. The prayers also works. I do not say the prayers or the rituals that we do does not work. It helps us. It helps us in great extent. But the main help have to come from our own side, from our own efforts. And so the Shanti Deva said that the difference between the ordinary sentient beings and the Buddhas. The ordinary sentient beings, from the beginningless time until now, that we care for oneself. We care for our own benefits, our own happiness, our own well-beings. And we work very hard, day and night, all the time, that we are caring for ourselves, working for our own benefits. But all we achieve is sufferings, more and more sufferings. How much sufferings that exist in this world today? When you read newspapers, most of the news is the sufferings, one way or another. The natural disasters, conflicts, and man-made disasters. So one way or another, there's so much sufferings. And even in our own everyday life, how much problems that we face. Mental sufferings, material sufferings, financial problems, legal problems, marriage problems, all kinds of sufferings. So always we think about the selfish way of acting and doing. All we achieve is the sufferings. And so now we have to think very carefully. Instead of thinking about ourselves, we have to think about others. And these others, it is not easy to work straight away. It is not easy to say. It is easy to say, but it's not easy to act. So what we should do is we should act in our immediate beings who are surrounded with you, your own friends, your own associates, your own family members, that you practice love, compassion, and the tolerance. And so in this way that you created a small group, starting from the small, that you expand, you make it more. So if you practice love, if you practice compassion, if you practice tolerance within your own family, within your own society, within your own circle of people, then how much difference it makes. If you've been patient, if you've been loving, if you practice compassion, then it can expand slowly, slowly to the others. As an ordinary person, that it's difficult to practice love and compassion to all sentient beings. For every being, it's very difficult to do. But so what we should do is, one should do it by step. First from one's own group, from one's own associate, one's own circle of beings, and then you expand slowly. And so in this way that we could make this world better, more livable, more harmonious, more happiness. And so therefore, although there are many different religions in this world, and I believe that every religion has its own way and its own special ways, and the variety of religion is necessary, because one kind of religion is not enough, because there are so many beings, countless beings, limitless beings. So the one kind of religion is not suitable for everybody. So the variety of religion, for certain people, the Hinduism is more suitable. For certain beings, Christianity is more suitable. For certain beings, Muslim is more suitable. For certain beings, certain beings, Buddhism is more suitable. So therefore, just as like we need different medicines to cure the different disease, there's not one medicine that can cure every disease. Not only the one medicine, but different system of medicine or medical system is necessary. For example, like for certain disease, allopathic medicine is more suitable. For certain disease, Ayurvedic medicine is more suitable. Certain disease, the traditional Chinese herbal medicine is more suitable. For certain disease, like the naturopathic is more suitable. For certain disease, like homeopathic is more suitable. So similarly, the religion also is different system. Different religion is suitable. So in this way, that we should try our. What I'm speaking here, of course, is as a Buddhist. I'm speaking from the Buddhist point of view. So in Buddhist way, how to free ourselves, how to be a better human being, how to be a better person. Because I believe many people tended to go to the highest path, the highest practice, and they think that in the wishes to liberation and enlightenment instantly, and that is not possible. That you have to gain, you have to work hard. And so how you work, how you begin is, first of all, before you become a good religious person, good practitioner, first I believe that we have to be a good human being. So what is the good human being? The good human being means the person who try to develop the basic human qualities, like the love, compassion, the tolerance, forgiveness. On every religion, I believe every religion, first one has to be a good human being. And when you become a good human being, then after that, then one can become a good practitioner. So the way to become a good human being is to practice these basic human qualities, which are very important for our own benefits, also to help the others. So it is important to develop our basic human qualities. And that you begin from one's own circle. As I have already mentioned about love, and then when you really love, Love means that you wish everyone to be happy and to be with the cause of happiness. So when you have this genuine love, and then you try to see how people are, how beings are, and then in reality is that no one is happy. Everyone is suffering. As there are so many different kinds of sufferings, people who have wealth and so on, they have so much mental sufferings. People who do not have wealth, they have physical sufferings, like lack of food, lack of clothes, lack of a place to stay, etc. So in this way, that everyone is suffering in one way or another. And then the sincere wish to be free from suffering and the cause of suffering is called the compassion. In the Buddhist teachings, there are several different kinds of compassion, but the basic one is what we call wish to be free from suffering and from the cause of suffering. And so therefore the compassion is very important. As ourselves, when we have pain, physical pain, or like the mental anxiety, how unbearable, how eager, how we are longing to be free from such suffering. All sentient beings, not only the human beings, but all sentient beings, tiny from insects, invisible insects, up to the gods, the human beings and gods, up to that, everyone has the same feeling. Everyone do not wish to have suffering even in a single moment. So instead of thinking one's own suffering alone, we have to think of the others, because our whole life is dependent on the others. For example, without parents, we will not be born here. Due to the parents that we have got this life. And right after birth, if the parents did not take care of us, one would not be able to survive. How could a baby which was just born can survive? It's impossible. Cannot eat, cannot talk, cannot do anything. But the parents cared, take care, and giving the food and protected from all kinds of dangers, and try to warm up when you are cold, try to cool down when you are hot, and trying to raise up, trying to teach you how to talk, how to eat, how to sit, how to walk. And then you grown up as children, you've been helped to educate, send it to school and educate them. And then with the help of the teachers and your friends, that you become better and better. And then as a grown-up person also, you can't really survive alone. You need the companions, we need the friends, you need an associate to whom you can share your feelings, your happiness, your sufferings, your problems. And as we grow older, and more and more grows older, we need to depend on the other beings. You need help. You need help to take care of, and especially when you are sick, and especially when you are in trouble. When you become old, of course, you need to depend on others. So the entire life, right from the beginning to the end, we need to depend on the others. So how can we let it be, ignore all others and just take care of oneself alone? It's not logical. It's not reality. It's not the right thing. So just as like yourself wish to be free from suffering, every sentient being also has the same feeling. So therefore, we have to think about the problems and the suffering of the other beings. And then, even though we can't really help them, I mean, we don't have the ability to help immediately, but at least we should have the intention, or at least what we call to share their misery, to share their problems. And by sharing them, by discussing them, by caring for them, even just by touching or by consoling, by advising, by talking them, will bring some kind of relief. So therefore, the compassion is very, very important. Generally, all the religions emphasize the importance of compassion, and particularly in the Buddhist tradition, all the religions, all the teachings that Buddha gave are based on the compassion. And especially what we call, within Buddhism, we have different traditions. In the Mahayana Buddhism, the root lies in the compassion. Because Mahayana means one who is seeking liberation for oneself alone. Mahayana means actually seeking enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So the wishing to help other sentient beings could not rise without compassion. Compassion is the root of all the Mahayana teachings. Without compassion, one could not practice Mahayana practices. And also, compassion is, in the beginning, the compassion is the most important thing. And in the meantime also, every practice we do in the Mahayana tradition is ideally, of course, the practitioners, there are different levels of practitioners. Some can practice, some cannot practice, but ideally, every practice you do is not for the self, one's own benefit, but every practice you do is for the benefit of the others. So this also cannot rise without the compassion. So therefore, the compassion is very, very important. And finally, when you achieve and when you accomplish the enlightenment, also that the compassion is very, very important. Without compassion, all the Buddha's activities is totally for benefiting the other sentient beings. And this arises from the compassion. So the compassion is important in the beginning and in the meantime and also at the end. It is said that the compassion is just like a seed. And in the meantime, the compassion is just like water and fertilizers. And at the end, the compassion is like a ripening of the crops or the fruits. So the whole time, the compassion is very, very important. And with the compassion, then it is the source of all the benefits, all the happiness, peace, everything rises from the compassion. We pray to deities or the gods that to accomplish our wishes. And this kind of prayer, of course, is important. It helps us At least it helps psychologically, we feel better. After praying, that we feel better. But the prayers alone will not be able to achieve our wishes. But if you practice compassion, it is a surety, the sure way of accomplishing your wishes. And so therefore, the compassion, even in, not from the religious point of view, without the religious ways, even as an ordinary person, ordinary worldly ways also, the compassion is very, very beneficial and very important. Anyone who practices compassion will able to experience all the happiness and the benefits. It is obvious. It is obvious because each and everything must have its own cause and the conditions. So from the compassion, the practices we do, actions we take, physical actions, verbal actions, and the mental actions that we take out of compassion could not be other than the peace and happiness. And so therefore, the compassion is very, very important, even in worldly, ordinary ways. And then another very basic human quality is the tolerance. Tolerance to be able to bear whatever the unkind or whatever the words or the ways to cause, that if you be able to tolerate has great benefits. If you are not tolerant and if you lose your temper, if somebody said nasty things to you, then you say nasty things to that person, and then it goes on. It activates and it enhances our anger, and then the anger is among all the defilements, the anger is the most harmful. Because the actions that are arising from the anger, according to the Buddhist tradition, if you take actions, physical actions, or verbal actions, or mental actions out of anger, will not only disturbs our peace, disturbs our happiness, disturbs the peace of whole circle of your own circle, your family members, your friends, and then also in the future it will cause us to fall down in the lower realms. So the anger is not only harmful, that it will continuously, in this life, but continuously, life after life, that one have to experience sufferings. It is said in the Shanti Devas, the great Intermaster Shanti Deva said, all the virtuous deeds that you have accumulated, such as like generosity, making offerings, keeping morality, the good moral conduct, that been accumulated for thousands of eons. Eon is actually not short time, it's a very long time. And that also not one eon, but thousands of eons that you have accumulated, the virtuous deeds, the good deeds, can destroy in single moment by rising the anger. So there's no worst sin or the non-virtuous deeds than the anger. And so therefore, the opposite of the anger is tolerance, patience. And the patience is very difficult to practice. But if you could practice, it is a great benefit. It is just the opposite of what the anger does. Exactly the opposite of the anger is the patience. So it has all the benefits. It can accomplish, it can accumulate merits for such a large extent. So therefore, patience or the tolerance is very important. Yet as an ordinary person, that it is difficult to practice. If somebody said nasty things, or somebody said, somebody look at you in a nasty way, then it is very difficult for us to tolerate. But if you tolerate one time, and then you will be able to tolerate it in another time, and then you'll be able to tolerate a third time. And as you do more and more, that eventually one will be able to practice. And so when you could practice, then it has a great benefit. It is the source of all the happiness and benefits. And so these basic human qualities, I believe, is very precious and very valuable. And it is the real source of all the happiness and benefits. And so we must able to try to practice them as much as possible. It is said that the Buddha's teachings are virtuous in the beginning, and the virtues in the meantime, and the virtues at the end. In the beginning, they are virtuous in a sense that we don't know what is the right, what is the wrong. The Buddha, who has obtained the omniscient wisdom, will know exactly what is the right and what is wrong. So the Buddha gave the teaching, the defilements can cause you all the sufferings. So in this way, in the beginning it is virtuous because we hear this. And then when we hear this, we realize now the fault lies not on the outside, but the fault is within our own mind. Our own negative emotions are the cause of all the misery and unhappiness and sufferings. So in this way, we gain the wisdom. Wisdom through the hearing, wisdom that you gain by receiving teachings. Now we realize that the cause of suffering is actually our own negative emotions. And in the meantime, it is virtuous because then what we hear, we analyze them. We process and we analyze them. And with this analyzing, that we've been able to suppress. When the anger rises, it can suppress because we know what are the faults, what are the harms, what are the damages that anger does. So instead of activating the anger, that it suppresses the anger. And so therefore, it becomes inactive. So it will not cause these harms and miseries. So it is a virtuous in the meantime. Then at the end, it is virtuous because what you hear and what you analyze them, you meditate. And through the meditation, then not only that we suppress, but we can dig out the root of the anger. We can dig out the root of the anger and taking out totally, so that the anger will never reoccur, never relapse, never reappearing. So therefore, the Buddha's teaching is virtues in the beginning, virtues in the meantime, and the virtues at the end. And so in this way, that we have to think. The Buddha himself said that he did not say that my teachings are the best, and he did not say that everyone must follow the Buddha's teachings. He said he given the chance or the opportunity to everybody to think. In Buddhism, the logic is very important. In Buddhism, the reasoning is very important. The Buddha himself said the monks, nuns, and the wise men should analyze the Buddha's teachings. Just as like we analyze the gold. When we buy gold, we have to make sure that it is a genuine gold. So we burn them, we cut them, we scratch them, and if you convince that it is a genuine gold, then we buy. Similarly, the Buddha did not say that my teaching is the best, so you must follow. But Buddha said you must, the teachings the Buddha gave, you must analyze them just as like you analyze the gold. And then you should take. Only after you convince that it is a genuine teaching, then it is one should take. So similarly, as Buddha said, that we must hear the Buddhist teachings, then you analyze them, you think of them, and then you practice them, and then when you get the benefits, when you realize how precious it is, how important it is, how beneficial it is, then you are convinced that Buddha is a great. Because if you are not great, if the Buddha is not great, he could not give such wondrous teachings. So by saying that Buddha is great, one could not prove that actually is a genuine great and great. But by analyzing, by practicing the Buddha's teachings, the benefits that you get, then you convince that Buddha is great, because such teachings that through our own experience, through our own practice, through our own experience, that we can get such experience, such benefit. So, therefore, the Buddha is great. And so in this way, that it is very important to bring ourselves, to make ourselves better person. And that is, we can't do it through outer material progress. With the material progress, you can't buy the tolerance or love or compassion or do the thing like, you can't do with the operations. With the operations you can't, but we have to develop our own basic human qualities, and through which then one will find all the benefits and the happiness. So with this now I conclude my talk, and as there is some time, so I will be very happy if you have any questions, that I will be very happy to answer.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Thank you for your kindness for some questions and answers. So what we'd like to do is, if I could seek Sister Shireen's help, if we could use 2 cordless mic here, and perhaps one runner to run. So just raise your hand if you have a question, and we will pass the mic to you. Do we have a runner? Some volunteers here?
Any questions? 有人有问题要问吗？有问题想要请示？ 好，OK。
Could we have two runners here to help us to pass the mic? Do we have a question in the back of the room? Yes? Would you like to start first? Yes?
Thanks. Why do you choose as an example of someone loved by others, Gandhi? Gandhi was killed by someone. Gandhi has had a very nasty behavior with some Muslim leaders, and because that, India, the split between India and Pakistan, and it was a very awful massacre. It was one of even worse than the Second World War, and many other mistakes of Gandhi. So, wow, yeah, Buddhists should be very logical. We have to examine everything. So, but Gandhi was not the best example of someone very loved. I speak very frankly. I am Buddhist since 30 years. So I say what I think. Maybe it's not very correct politically, but...
I could not hear the question so clearly.
Maybe my English is not very good, but why do you choose the example of Gandhi as someone very loved, when in fact he was killed by someone who didn't love him very much? Of course, no. And because Gandhi has a bad relationship with Muslim leaders, finally India split between India and Pakistan. So Gandhi was not very kind, and Gandhi was not very loved, is what I think, no? I am Buddhist since 30 years, and Buddha says we have to speak very straightforward, no? And very logically.
Actually, I do not know the historical facts very well, but I believe that Mahatma Gandhi's intentions were very pure. But of course, when you are in practice, whether it will work according to his intentions or not depends on the many factors, many other factors, many other associates and so on. But I think generally, I hear that even the very powerful British generals also respect him, because Gandhi was outwardly, he looks very thin and very weak, but inwardly, his ideas, his devotion, his work for the masses are very pure and very genuine. And his intention is to be one India, a united India. But of course, he did not succeed. That is a different thing. The intention and what you succeed, it depends on many other factors.
Your Venerable, thank you for your teachings. My question, you said that we have basic feelings of love, compassion, tolerance. We have basic defilements like desire, anger, jealousy, and pride. Why is it easier to feel these defilements than feel the basic human qualities?
As I mentioned in the beginning, because the defilements we've been associated with the defilements, not only during this life, but many lives before. We've been built up. It is a habitual tendency that builds up for life after life. So therefore, it is difficult. As I have given the example of like drinking and smoking, which are very harmful, everyone knows, but it is people who are used to it. people who are so used to with drinking, people who are so used to with smoking, it is very difficult, even though they have the intention of quitting, but it is difficult to quit. So similarly, the defilements is very, very difficult to disassociate. And the basic human qualities are very difficult to rise because we were not practicing. We are not used to it. It is just the builds up habitual tendencies.
Thank you.
We have a question.
Good evening. I'm with you. What you speak, I'm with you. Because I just discovered that all the religion, as what you said, like Sufism, Judaism, and all those religions with lineage, they have about the same thing as us Buddhism are practicing. They have meditation, they have reading of mantra, they also have reading of Buddha's name, like they call it zikir in Sufism. They all go into samadhi, like what we Buddhists do, Anuttara Sama Samadhi. But what you have spoken also, tonight we are talking about internal, not the external part of the religion. But many of us down here are practicing the outside religion and talking religion. Very few of us practicing the internal religion. So I wish that communication can be clear, that everybody who listens to you understand you very, very clearly. Thank you very much.
Sorry, sir. Is that a question, or am I hearing a question from you, or it's just you're making a comment? Sorry.
It's a comment.
Comment. Thank you. Right. Next person. Next question. When you speak, could you please bring your mic nearer? Okay, we have this sister right here on this side. Bring the mic nearer to your mouth.
I think it's not on. Okay, thanks. Just now when you were talking about questioning the scriptures, I just have one question about whether or not you know what you're asking is a suitable or cogent question. That's it.
I'm sorry, can you repeat your question, please?
Yes, I could not hear.
Oh, yes. Just now you were saying that when it is okay to question the scriptures and that we should. So I just want to know whether or not we know that we're asking a stupid question or a good one.
What did you say?
If I may repeat. So your question is, you are wondering at times, when do we know whether we're asking a silly question or a good question? Is that correct?
Yes, about
It's about that?
the scriptures, yes.
Okay, how do we know when we're asking the right question? Right?
I mean, actually, the topics that I have been I've been talking about regarding this, that if you have something that is not clear, something that is not that you not comprehend, and then regarding this you can ask questions, not the general things.
All right, sister. Okay, good. We have a question.
Thank you, His Holiness, for the teachings. I have a question over here about tolerance. When we have tolerance, when something is at us, someone pinching me, and it's so real to me, how do I be tolerant?
What is it?
Maybe, brother, can you please repeat your question? Okay. Bring the mic nearer.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's someone pinching me right now. How do I be tolerant in this situation?
As I said, either physically or mentally, when you tolerance once, before we could not tolerate, but where you realize how important the tolerance is, and if you could tolerate once, then next time you can do second time and third time and fourth time. As you do more and more, then it will become easier. There's nothing that will not become easy once you begin. The first beginning is difficult. First, to take the first step is difficult.
All right, we take 2 more questions.
Your Holiness, I'm referring to the first part of your lecture, and I know there may be no objective answer to my question, but I just want to know your personal opinion. So you say the I is not the mind, the I is not the body, so we cannot prove the existence of the I, but do you believe that the I exists, that there is something superior to the mind? Or if you believe that there is something there, then do we get to know the true nature of the I at the time of enlightenment?
Yes, the true nature of the I, true nature of the mind is actually beyond description. We talk about 2 ways, what we call the relative truth and the absolute truth. Relative truth means a way to reach the absolute truth. So during this way to reach the absolute truth, the relative truth, we do have I, because if there's no I, then there's no one to get the liberation also. Is that there's a one who do virtuous deeds and get the benefits. There's one who do the non-virtuous deeds and who gets the sufferings also. If there's no self, then of course these things could not exist. But in reality, when you reach the absolute level, then there's no I. The I is only an illusion. So until you awaken from this illusion, there is a self. But in reality, there's no self. It is just like the example is like dreams. While we are dreaming, we encounter many experiences: happy experience, sad experience, fearful experience, terrifying experience. But until you awaken, the fears or the whatever feelings, it will remain. But as soon as you awake from your dream, then there's nothing, not even the sign what you saw during your dreams, isn't it? So similarly, when you reach the ultimate level, there's no I. In reality, there's no self. But to reach that at the relative level, there is what we call not the logically proved self, but at the relative level, there is one who gets these things.
So, to conclude, the I is the illusion.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We'll take one last question then for this evening. Any last question for the evening? You have a question for us, sir?
I'd like to ask you one question about negation. When you are doing meditation, you yourself have to be aware, is that right? And then when you're aware of yourself, then yourself is still there. How to negate yourself away and be empty? That is, myself, I use the technique of mantra. Sometimes I use the technique of the middle way, as if there is, as if there is not, as if there is, as if there is not, to negate it clear. Which is the better way?
Meditation has actually many different levels. The basic meditation, and then higher meditation, and the highest meditation, etc. So at the basic meditation, of course, there's a self, because at the moment we talk about the selfless and selflessness, but in reality, in practice, we have the self. There is a somebody. There is we still have this. It's still in state of like dreams. So there's self. But as you go further, higher and higher meditation, then the more and more you are close to the reality, the lesser and lesser feeling of the selflessness.
Thank you, Your Holiness. Thank you very much, really, for the inspiring talk. And all of us look forward to day 2 tomorrow evening.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I'll do a short dedication. Sonam de damje zevanye damne nyebe janam bamje tiaga naje balon chubaye sibe tsole dora jambe bawe chidara jamba dan tundo sambo te anteshe tada kinji jeso daloje gyawa dida damje rado no tusun shebe jadam ngō kāng lā chōtō ngā bā tē tā kē kē wē tsā tē kē sāmbō chē chē rā tō ngō rā jī tā bā jī tēn kāng sō chōng bā tān tēn bā nyē shēn tō tēn chēn bā lō kē tūn tūn bā yī tān bā yu rīn tē wē chā shī shō.
Please rise.
May we first invite the Sanghas to leave the hall.